how do you set up for vocal, like to cut vocal,
To
like
to record?
physically? Yeah, not in the software, but just physically. Like, are you
Ah, um,
because people have a blind people. This is a blind person's question. They seem to have
yeah,
a harder
I hear you.
time with the elbow twist and knobs and the pop filter and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't really have an issue with that. Sometimes it depends on what I'm recording. There's always the debate over like sitting and recording or standing and recording. And
Mm.
if it's a lot of like me doing all the work recording and engineering and things like that, I feel like I usually do sit and record just because I need to be able to be in front of the microphone and hit a button or turn a dial or whatever.
Yeah.
And that just, you're more familiar with it sitting at your board or sitting at wherever. But if I'm in a studio, usually I'm standing. And I think one of the important things as a blind person trying to kind of get your microphone figured out is know your distance. Even if you're sitting or if you're standing or what you're doing, you need to know exactly what sort of a distance is good for you to be far enough away that you're not. I mean, even with a pop filter, you can still screw it up and make unpleasant noises. So you need to know how to be far enough that you're still, getting in the mic and not so close that you're popping your peas even with a pop filter.
Sure.
Can I add to this? Because I
go
think
ahead.
too that we were talking a little bit about this earlier, where people can't believe that we're engineers or whatever, but people also, when you're in their studios, they don't want you touching their stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God. And I find that as a blind person in front of a microphone, I'm always kind of reaching out and putting it like
I
Yeah.
need to know where that mic is.
Yeah,
Because especially
have I moved? Have I
especially-
Me
changed
too.
position?
Yes.
Because I can
No
just
matter
move
the
my
person's
head or move
studio,
around in my
you're
chair.
moving your head, you're moving your body,
Yeah.
you're getting
It
into the
drives
music.
other
So you
people
need
crazy.
to know where stuff is.
I mean, I know vocalists. I record vocalists, and they come out of the mic. They do it. They express a lot of mic control. And I know I noticed you do it too, Satana. Even just talking, I think Slough and I talked about this. Like, well, yeah, when Satana laughs, she like comes out of the microphone, like it's like she's her own compressor, And
Yeah, well,
and
that's because I have a big mouth and I laugh.
so I mean, to just to re-up with your position though, like as a blind person, is got to be like, oh man, that has to be practiced. That is not.
Yeah, but this is tricky, I think, at the end of the day, because it's not only your distance from the mic, it also depends. For that, maybe it's really helpful, the loop back record feature, because you have to sort of learn to know your gear, in terms of
So true.
the gain staging. I mean the adjusting the gain on your whatever you have, an audio interface, the preamp, the distance, the room. It's a lot of things involved,
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned this earlier. We were talking about, John, I think, mentioned how in audiobooks, sometimes you hear something and then you can clearly tell that it was a different day or a different mic or something,
Right.
and the recording wasn't the same. And I have those moments where, sometimes if it's a really calm, quiet read, I am right up on that microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And other times I'm back much further. And so I've had people come back to me a year or 2 years after I've done an original job and want to update something. So I keep everything because I have to.
Yeah.
And to go back to that original and go, okay, what was I doing? Or even if I'm recording something that's long form, like an audiobook, I'll come in and be like, okay, what was I doing? And to kind of listen and then do a couple of phrases and listen to those phrases versus the previous phrases and match it up. And that is a skill, and it's an important skill.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's a skill that you will see in job descriptions, or clients will tell you, we may come back to you in 3 months. Can you make it sound like you did before? And it's like, the only time I've struggled with that is I'm in a hotel room And I
Right.
just
yeah.
I can't get it the same.
Can't get that space
And
back. Yeah.
I've attempted it, but I've had to say to people, look, I'm in a hotel room and I'll be back in my studio next week. Let's see if we can make it work. But sometimes you just can't.